Kumbaya, 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 kumbaya. Somebody's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Whoa, somebody's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Whoa, somebody's praying, Lord, kumbaya. Singing rain, storm, fire, wind, kumbaya. Singing rain, storm, fire, wind, kumbaya.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so thankful that you're here for our virtual banquet. Even though it's a little different than normal, we are thankful that we get to be together to tell you a little bit about what we've been up to this past year and where we're going in the future. And everyone knows that a banquet is about raising funds, and so I'll be honest, this is that for tonight. And so as you hear some of the stories of what we've been up to and what we're doing, please think about how you want to get involved and support us in our ministry. We are looking forward to what God has in store for us going forward.
My name is Randall Schroeder, and I am the Director of Maintenance at Dallas Valley. Beyond a job, obviously, I've worked there, well, not obviously, I guess. I've worked there now for 8 summers as summer staff, and then after that, I took a couple years off, and then I'm I think 5 years full time. So I've loved being at camp, but camp has really been a place where I've been able to share my faith. Growing up, I grew up on a farm and homeschooled, fairly isolated from, not terribly isolated from people, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities for me to share my faith. I was mostly around other Christians, and camp gave me a great place to be able to explain to kids what I believe, who Jesus is and what he's done for me. And that's something that I wasn't really able to do as much at home. And that was a huge way that camp impacted me, that I could impact other people with the gospel that I knew.
My name is Nathaniel Homke, and I've done a variety of things from program directing to cabin leading to everything in between. So I've been at Dallas Valley for 11 years on staff, and so it's become my home away from home. And so it's been this place that's been used in my life to completely change the way I view leadership, the way I view just interacting with people. Yeah, the opportunities that have been given there to serve, and not only serve, but see other people serve as well, has completely changed the way that I view, serving and honoring God through what I do and through the way I live. So yeah, over the 11 years, I've seen like countless youth come to know Jesus, have their lives completely changed, seeing just different encounters, whether it's around the campfire, whether it's in the cabins, or just hanging out at different skills and activities. Just seeing youth have those aha moments where they realize there's more to life than what they thought. As well, seeing staff just completely have their lives changed. Staff training is one of my favorite times at camp, just because you have so many people who aren't entirely sure what they're getting themselves into, and then all of a sudden they experience that community for the first time in their life, and they know it's something that they never want to let go of, and it's something that's going to change their life forever. And so.
Well, my name is Marie. I've worked at camp for 8 years now, so my position has been everything from LIT to assistant cook to program directing, cabin leading. This last summer was tricky because everything was new, so we had no idea how things would be received. We had to plan everything in advance and try to guess at how people would react to stuff. But it was an amazing summer. It was so fun. And yeah, we got to see less of the people that we got to work with than we wanted. But it was still such an amazing experience to be able to serve people in the way that we were given. So.
The past few years, we've had a number of custodians, especially, that have come full time, and a lot of times I see camp impact campers, and that's awesome. But then to see the campers become staff and to see the growth in the staff especially has been amazing. And then to see a lot of those staff even come and join the ranks for our custodians. A lot of them have been former summer staff, and then I've watched them come into full-time staff and really grow in their faith through that whole progression of being summer staff and full-time staff. And then once they're full-time staff, then they find a place where they need to really work out their faith for themselves. They have to figure out, like, this is what I believe in, this is how I should live. And so to see them really grow in their faith that way as well has been a really cool way that I've seen people be impacted by camp.
So my aha moment actually came a year before I started working at Dallas Valley. My aunt sent me as a camper to just go to this place I'd never heard of, never seen it, knew nothing about it. And I remember very clearly that was the summer when God went from feeling like a family friend to feeling like my friend. Instead of just somebody that others spoke about, God became personal in my life, and I realized that I actually had a relationship with Him. It wasn't just something that my parents had a relationship with. My parents are some of the most influential people in my life, but we were never in a place where I could afford going to camp. And so knowing that there was this other opportunity where I could not only be there, but I could be a part of it in a more a significant way than simply just being a camper. I could now lead. I could now influence others in a positive leadership type role. And so I essentially showed up when I was 15 and never left. Yeah. So.
What kept me coming back to camp was a lot of the community at first. I loved being able to be around people my age who actually cared about their faith and who were fun and full of life, and being in a place where I could impact kids, I could impact other people around me. That was a huge reason why I kept coming back. But later on, I started realizing one of my biggest motivations for coming back was actually that I just saw it as such an amazing opportunity to grow myself and to become closer to God and to see how God moved, because I found, although I did get to see God move in a lot of ways in like normal jobs or school, camp has always been the place where I see God move the most and where I see things happen that are just like absolutely incredible and beautiful, and and that has often kept me coming back to camp.
We exist to ignite and nourish a life-transforming relationship with Jesus Christ through a dynamic camp experience, and I believe we do that very well. And that's what I love to be a part of, to serve at camp and do that.
Just knowing that I was going to this place where I had friends, this place where I was accepted, where I could be as vulnerable and as honest as I've ever been in my entire life. And I would just be completely welcomed. And so having that every summer to go to, and seeing the exact same thing for the youth who go to that camp every summer, and they're just experiencing that relationship with the staff as well as with other campers, and knowing that it's a place where they're not going to be judged, where they're going to be accepted, where they're going to be loved unconditionally. There's nothing else like that experience.
This summer, one thing that was challenging and yet also like interesting was that you didn't get to see a lot of the reaction of the kids. You didn't get to see a lot of how you impacted people. I think at first it was really hard because it was just like, how are we actually like making an impact? But after a while, we started realizing like that's kind of the whole purpose of ministry, is realizing that we don't always get to see the impact that we have, and just trusting God with that. So traditional things that would be considered successful, we didn't get to see any of that really. And I think that was actually a huge blessing, because it caused us to realize, like, even more so, we are doing this for the kids. We are doing this not to see the impact that we're having, but to just trust God with the impact that He can make.
We're very excited this summer to be able to run again in some form, though it might not be the same as what we've done in the past. We're very excited to be able to run day camps, have kids out on the land again, and I'm excited to be doing maintenance for that. All the facilities have been without people on them for a long time, and I'm excited to see them used for what they were designed for and what God has for them. It's a good thing to see when the things that God has in place for the gospel to be shared. It's a good thing to see when those things can be used for that purpose. And I'm excited about that.
Dallas Valley's the best! It's fun. Do it. If you don't like horses, that's okay. I don't either. It's a really great place to meet people and to be able to process through your faith. And I think that that is something that a lot of people are looking for, that a lot of people realize they are curious about spiritual things. They are wanting to grow as a spiritual being, and not a lot of kids get the opportunity to actually process through that stuff. And interestingly enough, Dallas Valley is super fun, you don't need to deal with any of that if you want. But it's also the place that offers that opportunity.
I think one of the questions that a lot of staff have is it worth it? Going back every summer, is it worth it? And after going back for 11 summers in a row, I can say confidently it's worth it every time. Money aside, the growth that I've experienced in my life because of what I've got to experience there, because of the different speakers, the different staff, the different individuals all over the place who have poured into me over the years. I wouldn't be doing any of the things I'm doing now in my life if it wasn't for just that constant year after year of people just pouring into me and shaping me into who I am.
Something positive that I saw out of the changes that we had to make last summer was actually being able to receive more input from parents. So oddly enough, when parents are actually coming to pick up their kid on a Sunday morning, normally over a normal summer, they just kind of pick them up, their kid tells them a bunch of stuff, and then they leave. But this summer, we actually got to have some input from parents on how thankful they were for the work that we were doing, and how sometimes the one day of the week where the kid got to open the loot package was the only day they didn't have to worry about finding their kid something to do. It was a really good time, and that was actually one of the nice little benefits of seeing the change that COVID brought.
It's always going to be the people. There's so many cool things that we have there, absolutely. But it's always going to be the people. Getting to come and spend time with people who I've made friendships with for years now, as well as making new friendships with new staff, as well as the kids, and just seeing lives changed. I know every year I go back, I still get to experience that in my own life, but also just seeing other people's lives changed is just always worth it every time.
Past year has been definitely different than what we normally have at camp. So for the first time since 1983 when we first started, there's no campers on site, and that was definitely a challenge for us. It was one of those things that when we first announced it, parents and kids were sad and disappointed, and so were we. Had a mom reach out to us and say school was canceled, and they were able to make that. That was okay. Then dance was canceled, and then hockey, and it kept building. And then they said when camp was canceled, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the sad day for their family. And that was what we felt in our house. When our board sat down and we had to finally cancel camp officially, it was a sad time as the vote happened, and we were planning for it. We knew that was coming, but when you finally have to make that decision and you step into this new reality of no camp for the summer, that was tough. I walked home from that board meeting and I cried the whole way home because we were stepping into this new thing that had never happened, and for the first time we weren't having kids at camp, and that was sad. But I'm thankful that our camp is willing to take risks and new opportunities, and we weren't going to sit around and do nothing. And so we decided that we were going to do trail rides in the summer. If we can't have campers, we might as well do something. And so we started those, and those sold out right away, and we did those all summer, and parents were loving that. And then we kept that going into the winter, and we decided we were going to do sleigh rides. And so we had those, and those sold out, and that was a positive, seeing our neighbors and community come out and do that. And then one of my favorite ones, we opened up tubing this winter, and those went over really well, starting selling out in 6 hours to 4 down to 2. People just kept signing up and really enjoying that. And so that was definitely a positive for us starting and trying something new. I had our neighbors come to me and ask me, "Did you buy all this stuff?" Because they were wanting this to be not just a one-year thing, but they wanted it to be every year, that they could bring their family out to this. And so we were thankful I could say, yep, we did this and we're planning on continuing it and doing it going forward. And it's little things like this that we've done and tried to do that have opened doors to allow us to witness and to make an impact on our community that we didn't have before. And we used to think camp was just about impacting kids and loving them, but we've now realized that it goes so much beyond that. We're really impacting and making inroads into whole families through our trail rides and through our sleigh rides and through tubing. And so we've really seen a growth in that. And it's seen as simple as our Facebook has grown more this year without camp than it has ever before when we've had camp. And so we're thankful that we've had this new opportunity to make an impact and to see places where we can grow in the future than where we were originally doing in our current state. This past summer, we had our subscription boxes that we sent out to campers, and in there was 8 weeks of activities and different things to do, and parents really enjoyed that. I had one mom tell us that they had subscribed in different subscription boxes, and this is by far the best one they ever had subscribed to. This summer we're looking to do day camps, and it's different than what we normally do, but we have the opportunity to still bring out kids in a safe manner and provide them with a really great experience. And we've submitted an in-depth proposal to the Saskatchewan Business Bureau, and they've given us the go-ahead to do it. And so we are excited about those opportunities. And then as well, going forward, we're excited about other opportunities that are available to us that we've felt out through trail rides and sleigh rides and tubing hill. What's out there that we can do to expand to more of the families that are going to be able to come out. And we've seen the growth from our families and the things we've done and through our family camps selling out. And so we're excited what's in store. But in order to make those things happen, we need your support. We need volunteers for the summer. We need cooks. We need nurses. We need summer staff. And maybe you're not able to do that, but maybe you know someone that is. And so if you can help us to find all those young people that we need to be a cabin leader and lead a group of kids around and share the love of God with them, if you're able or capable of helping us with that, we'd really appreciate it. We also need your prayer. We can't do this without you. And so if you'd support us and stand behind us in what we're doing, that would go a long way to making our ministry even stronger. But like I said at the start, this is also about finances, and we need your support more than ever. With us being closed for the past year, with no camp, with no source of income really in the past while, we need your help to make camp thrive and flourish. And we're needing to do a lot of new things, from spacing out skills and changing those things up a bit, new protective gear for our nurses, and new washing stations and things like that for our kids. We have a lot of things that we're undertaking to make sure that we provide this safely for them, and so we need your financial support to make that happen. You can give online at dallasvalley.com, and we'd gladly take your credit card payments through there. You can send us an e-transfer if you want to dvalley@dallasvalley.com, or you can phone our office at 306-731-3348, and we'll be by the phone and try and help you out. If you don't get through, just leave a message and we'll give you a call back if that's how you want to do it. Or you can send us a check in the mail at Box 779, Lumsden, Saskatchewan, S0G3C0. Whatever you're able to give, we are thankful for it. There's no pressure to give. We're just thankful that you're here and supporting us in what we're doing. We can't do this without you. And so thank you so much for your time and investment. God bless and have a good evening.
Kumbaya, kumbaya.